I also think that this thing getting away from Dan Campbell and the Lions is a disaster. The Lions missing the playoffs is a disaster.
Yeah.
Now, he's not one of the coaches I'm firing if
No,
they
I
miss
know.
the playoffs, but they
might have missed that window.
right. I mean, and they make the conference championship game. They're up 17 on Brock Purdy and the Niners. They lose. Dan Campbell's like, we might not be back here. The next year, they're better. They have 15 wins. They're injured at the end of the year. They lose their first playoff game. If they then miss the postseason when they have been, I understand nobody's fully healthy, but we don't look at the Lions like, oh man, they were devastated by injury this year. Laporta's out. They've dealt with some offensive line issues. They have an injured retired center who's now going to stay retired because he's injured.
Amon-Ra St. Brown got hurt in that game.
Right, but he's been healthy throughout the year.
Yeah.
And so it just would be, it would be really, really tough for the Lions with this much talent, because they do have one of the best rosters in football. They don't find their way into the postseason. And Wilds' beloved athletic playoff predictor
30%
gives them a 30% chance to make the playoffs.
Yeah, the Detroit Lions are a good example of why there's no sense of this window. The window is kind of this made-up idea that when you have a chance to win the Super Bowl, you better go all in. And I remember I got in a disagreement with the Detroit Lion fan last year, and he said, our window's open for the next 10 years. We're not making any moves to sacrifice that. And I was like, what an insane, I think he ended up blocking me. It was like, what an insane comment to make. Like, what are you talking about right now? And I was like, you're going to lose both your coordinators. You're going to lose Ben Johnson. You have no idea the health of these players. I mean, look at this year. Your defense is getting back. Like, you have no idea the in preseason, Jared Goff can, tear his Achilles and he's gone for the season, right? Season lost now. Like, you have no idea. And, you just lost Amon-Ra St. Brown right now, which is devastating. But this was still a winnable game. I disagree with the decision-making of Dan Campbell and how he's going for it on fourth down, not kicking the field goal when you should have. Like, he's still making in-game decisions that I just fundamentally disagree with. And the answer is not, well, that's what we do. We're aggressive. That's our mentality. That's not how it works. It's just not. There's a difference between being aggressive and assertive and being reckless. And you have to be able to know the difference right now. And losing Amon-Ra St. Brown is devastating. And yet they were still able to have a lot of success offensively. But the problem with this team is, and I called this out maybe last year, but definitely through the course of this year, I forget how early I reached this conclusion. I honestly don't remember. So I'm not doing any type of victory lap here, but it was just this offense is still too dependent on converting fourth downs. Converting those fourth downs isn't like an addition where it's like, well, hey, we're so great. We're so special. When we go for it on fourth down, we just keep the pedal to the metal. And that it's just extra gravy, right? We go for the jugular that even if we don't get it, it's fine because we're so great. We got you. We got you. We got you. There's nowhere for you to run. We are a literal lion. The reality is right now, they need to convert those fourth downs in order to win these games. That becomes a problem when you look around the league and see other teams not needing those fourth downs. And the problem is you don't convert that fourth down against the Kansas City Chiefs. You lose the game. You don't convert the fourth down against, he had him, I forget, I think it was Williams who ended up dropping that ball. It seems like there's a kind of a coin flip between do you blame Goff for not throwing an accurate enough ball or do you blame Williams for dropping it? Lots of people who I respect had different opinions on that. It doesn't matter. That's just what happens. That's what happens when you go for it. That's what happens when you go fourth down. I'm on Brown. Literally dropped the ball against the 49ers, I think it was, in the playoffs. And it's just yeah, that's what happens. You can't, you can't bank on it. And it's the difference between winning and losing can't be converting that fourth down. It has to be more of the cherry on top rather than the entire sundae. And right now, it very much feels like the entire sundae. And so when you're not converting at these key moments, you end up losing, man. You end up putting yourself in a tough situation. You even had the opportunity to, they ended up being 0 for 2 on fourth down. That ends up being devastating. And lo and behold, the Packers, and I think 2 of those fourth down conversions were touchdowns, if memory serves me correctly. It's kind of tough now because since that game was practically already a week ago. And so it's a tough one. It's a tough one. And they had the opportunity where they could have kicked a field goal, cut it down to 1 score. You're giving your defense a reason to keep going, and instead you don't do that. and now it still stays 2 scores. I just don't understand it. I mean, it's 31-21. You kick a field goal, and if you can't trust your kicker to make the field goal, well, then you can't win games, you know? So it's just like I don't know what to say. But then it's 4th and 3, turnover on downs, and there you go. But I mean, just kick the field goal and go. But now you kick the field goal, then the neck, because you stop them. 3 plays, 6 yards, then you kick the field goal, but then you don't get the ball back. Like, that's poor game management. I'm yet to really hear an explanation as to why. Like, well, really, that's the better way to do it. And it's like, no, I don't see why. I really don't. And I was watching that game with my brother, cousin-in-law, who's a football coach, played football his entire life, and is a high-level football coach in the middle of nowhere. So they're good. And we were just like, what are they doing right now? Like, what is this? So, like, Jared Goff played really well. 22 for 20, 20 for 26, 256 yards, 9.8 yards per attempt, 2 touchdowns, 132.9 passer rating, 85.7 QBR. They got good run production, 30 carries for 119 yards, 4 yards per carry. Nothing insane, obviously, not like the game that we saw Gibbs had in the past necessarily, but Gibbs still was productive in necessary ways. Again, nothing insane. He never was able to really break off and be devastating necessarily. But I mean, you lose Amon-Ra St. Brown. You have to jump on the Jameson Williams train. He plays great. 7 catches for 144. He's obviously going to be imperfect. He's not going to be able to come down with every single thing. And I just feel as though if you manage this game a little bit better, you could have came away with like a wild win, right? Like you could have come away with like, wow, that was a close one. Or tie. It could have felt closer. And it wasn't. And, again, losing Amon-Ra St. Brown cannot be understated. He's massive. You lose him, it's like, I don't expect you just to be able to just like find a way to win no matter what. So in some ways you're kind of nitpicking, but you're the Detroit Lions. You've been this dominant, suffocating team now for years. That's just the way it works. So it's just it's a really tough spot to be in right now. And this was my concern when you lose the coordinators. You look fine and still great against the lower teams. And when it felt like the Lions lost it all in the beginning of the season, it was like, oh, they're not the Lions. They're not the Lions. It was like, well, let's just be patient. Let's just be patient. Then they started winning and having some great high moments. And I said, listen, the Lions are too good of a team for me to ever consider beating bad teams successful. And I said, and I like the play calling against some of these lower teams, but I need to see great play calling against the better teams. And I was like, I need to see what you look like against the Kansas City Chiefs, against the Eagles back when they were considered maybe a better team. And I was like, that's what I care about. Now, I don't care about the play calling against, the Minnesota Vikings right now, even though that didn't work out too well for them. It's like I care about the true contenders, the true teams that you truly have to beat to be anything. And I don't see that same level of high quality game management and play combing against the better teams, specifically, of course, against the better defenses. Even when you're getting high quality play from like a Jared Goff right there. I mean, the Packers have an awesome defense, and he was 20 for 26, 256 yards, nearly 10 yards per attempt, 2 touchdowns. Like, that is no easy feat. That is a great game by Jared Goff. You got what you could get out of Goff yet. And for all intents and purposes, you essentially lost this game by 2 scores. It's a tough one, and you even lost Amon-Ra. So it's like you could make the argument, listen, if Amon-Ra was there, like, we win this game easy. And it's like, maybe it's definitely possible. Definitely puts you in a better situation, no doubt. But I don't want to just use that as the excuse. It's the same thing when the Lions lost in the playoffs against the Commanders. It was like, our defense is decimated. Absolutely. Your offense also was not good enough. And I did not like the play calling. And I criticized Ben Johnson, who I think is awesome. And so did Tom Brady. Tom Brady called out Ben Johnson in that game as well. Tom Brady is going to call you out. It's like, well, who am I to disagree with Tom? And so it's like, even though there are unfortunate circumstances that could have also greatly contributed to a loss, I still think it's very important to still discuss the other aspects in a win or a loss, because like I always say, like, that's how you get closer to the truth. That's how you evaluate where are you actually. It's why I ripped the analysis of like, oh, the Chicago Bears just bullied the Philadelphia Eagles. It's like, no, that's lazy analysis. That's not the whole story. You're just saying then that the Eagles didn't come prepared to play. That's letting them off the hook, actually. And that's actually downplaying what the Chicago Bears did. It's like, no, there's more to this story. Just like there's more to this story in this game. Can't say, well, injuries on defense and injuries to the O-line and this, that. And it's like, those are all relative or relevant absolutely positively without a shadow of a doubt, but there's still more to drill down on from my viewpoint at least. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Detroit Lions falling to the Green Bay Packers? How do you feel about how that game unfolded? How do you think the season is unfolding for the Lions currently? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights, but ultimately let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here and absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all generally feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.